Well, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Inland Sports Show. It's finally time to look at our preseason top 25 high school football rankings. Better late than never. Here we come, the Inland Sports Show, and it starts right now. Well, here we are, finally live, and again, if you follow us on social media, I do appreciate it. We tweeted out a little bit earlier that we would not be on at our normal time at 6:05 p.m. from the Teen Vision TV 16 studio, that we had to be pushed back to 7:05 p.m. live from my living room. I was down in the Murrieta area and had some car issues and could not get to the TV studio in time to do our normal show. So apologies to our scheduled guests who are hoping to get on the show next week. That's Aquinas football coach Jordan Brusig, San Jacinto football coach Eric Galliano, and Kaiser head football coach Billy Cardosi. So hoping to get all those guys on the show next week. But with week 0 upon us, we've got games coming up on Thursday night. We had to do something tonight because we wanted to unveil our Boost Performance Training top 25 preseason rankings. And again, these are preseason rankings. No games have been played. This is all just based on several factors. In fact, people were asking me, how did you get the rankings? What kind of formula did you guys use? It's easy. I'll tell you right now. And in fact, it's on our website, the inlandsports.wordpress.com website blog. We took into account how the team performed in spring of 2021, how the team performed in the fall of 2019, right? Our last regular kind of high school football season. Returning players, like who's coming back. Coaching changes. There's a lot of teams out there with new head football coaches. So who made a coaching change? Was it an upgrade? Was it parallel? Was it about even? Was it level? We're going to find out this season. Reputation, right? So much of these high school football rankings, the good teams continue to be good, and you've got to reward them for that, right? The teams that are good year in and year out, the reputation, and finally, the schedule. There's a couple teams out there with brutal non-league schedules coming up, and in a week or 2 or 3, these preseason rankings could be a complete mess, and we might be rearranging the pecking order in our Boost Performance Training Top 25. But right now, preseason rankings, without further ado, they're on the website as well, so you can check them out. Let's break it down. And here is the Boost Performance Training Preseason Top 25. You got Centennial at number 1, and again, how do you go against the Huskies? Yes, Norco beat them in the spring, but some weird things happened during the spring. So we'll see if Norco can continue that in the fall. Right now we got Centennial 1, but Norco's right on their heels coming in at number 2, your Big 8 League champion from this past spring. So Centennial on schedule, on Matt Logan, on reputation. I could go on and on. They're number 1. I don't think a lot of people will argue against that. And we got Norco coming in at number 2, right there behind the Huskies. And then your Southwestern League champ, Vista Murrieta, in at number 3. The Rancho Verde comes in at number 4. Now, the Mustangs have a new head coach, Lawrence Duncan. But hey, he's part of that Coach Duffy coaching tree. So I don't think the Mustangs are going to lose a beat. They got a great young quarterback. Their defense is going to be flying around. They come in at number 4. Murrieta Valley, Brandon Rose, the quarterback. The Nighthawks come in at number 5. Cajon, number 6. They lost a lot of size up front, but their skill guys are coming back, and they're really, really good and fast. Cajon's at 6. Another team from the Southwestern League. A lot of respect for the Southwestern League in our Boost Performance Training Preseason Top 25. The Chaparral Pumas at number 7. So you got Vista Murrieta, Murrieta Valley, Chaparral, all in the top 7. Coming in at number 8, our first private school, Aquinas, the Falcons. Hey, go back to 2019. They were your Division 5 champion. They went all the way to a state championship game. should have beat those ugly, ugly Eagles from Clayton Valley, but that's another story. Citrus Valley in at number 9. They finished runner-up to Cajon during the spring, and if you guys didn't see that game, we had it live on IEMG, and it was an absolute battle. It was such a great game, and, with Kurt Bruick at the helm, you knew Citrus Valley was going to be good. How quickly would they be, this good? Well, they're here. The Blackhawks are here. They have arrived. At number 10, Heritage. The Heritage Patriots are always good. They do have a new head coach, Andre Smith, but he comes over from Marietta Valley, where they scored a ton of points with the Nighthawks. So I don't think they're going to miss much in terms of keeping that dominance going there in H-Town for Heritage. They come in at number 10. Now, we go from 11 to 25. Beaumont with Jeff Steinberg already during the spring established that they belong in the Citrus Belt League. They could hang, no doubt. Number 12, Temecula Valley, another great team from the Southwestern League. Yucaipa comes in at number 13. Now, the T-Birds played Cajon tough in the spring. But again, some weird things happened during the spring, and we're going to see if that continues this fall, or if maybe that was like a flash in the pan, like maybe it's just a one-time thing. But Yucaipa was good in the spring, and they played Cajon tough. We got them at number 13. San Jacinto at 14. We've seen Coach Galliano and the Tigers really rise the last couple of years. Norta Vista at 15, year in and year out. They are good, although they did finish runner-up to Hillcrest this past spring. Roosevelt at 16. Kaiser at 17. Now, Kaiser's interesting. Talked to Coach Billy Cardosi. In fact, he was supposed to be on the show tonight. Hopefully we'll get him next Wednesday night when we're back in the studio like normal. But he says he's got a lot of young players. But Kaiser, again, continuously built on that reputation. Good, year in and year out. Temescal Canyon had a great spring, but their head coach, Brian Hildebrand, is now at Rancho Cucamonga. So we'll see if Temescal Canyon can keep things going. Harupa Hills. Now, if there was a team during the spring, this past spring, 2021, who really stood out, Cedos Marines and Harupa Hills. Really, really good. JW North at 20, Orange Vista at 21, Eisenhower, who did not play during the spring, at 22, Vista Del Lago, kind of like, I would say, Temescal Canyon, Harupa Hills. Vista Del Lago was another one of those teams that really turned heads during the spring, and they had a quality win against Citrus Hill during the spring. Hillcrest, your River Valley League champion. We got to put them in the top 25 because they are a returning league champion, but they lost a lot. Can Coach Travis Carter and the Trojans put it all together again and hold off Norta Vista in the RVL? And number 25, Citrus Hill, again, a program who, based on reputation, good year in, year out, but another coaching change there. Mike Herring taking over for Jason McMains, who is now at King High School. So that's our preseason top 25. And I'll be honest, from about, I'd say maybe like 9 or 10 in the rankings, all the way down to about 25, I think we're going to see a ton of movement. In a week, 2, 3 weeks, I think we're going to see a lot of teams moving around. We're going to find out who's the real deal really fast, because we got some great non-league games coming up early on in the season. And again, if you're just joining us, our preseason top 25, this was the criteria. How did the team perform in the spring? How did the team perform in the fall of 2019, our last, most recent real football season? Returning players, who's coming back? Coaching changes, maybe the lack of a coaching change. That was significant, right? If you keep the coach in place, if you've got a really good team, of course, like Chastain, Logan. I mean, I could go on and on. There's some Nick Rogers at Cajon, Raymer. If they ain't broke, don't fix it. Brusick at Aquinas. We also talked about reputation. Are you guys good every year? There's some schools on here. I mean, I could, pencil them in before the season even started. Hey, they're going to be ranked. They're that good. And, of course, schedule. And, again, we've got some great non-league games in the first several weeks of the high school football season. So we're going to find out a lot before we even get 3 or 4 weeks into this season. But who's the real deal? So this is our Boost Performance Training preseason top 25. If you're watching this live, if you're going back and watching this on demand, hey, make a comment, tweet at us, man. That'd be even better. Or on Instagram, make sure you follow us and message us and tell us, hey, Pep, this team, whatever team out there is your favorite high school football team deserves to be ranked higher. And tell us why. Maybe we missed something. But we want to know, did we get this right? Is it close? Who are we sleeping on? I bet you there's a team out there that we're sleeping on right now that deserves to be on this list. So tell us about it. And make sure you follow us on Inland Sports Twitter and also Inland Sports Instagram. And if you still do Facebook, yeah, so do we. We're not on there a lot, but we still do Facebook, and we will likely put this very show on our Facebook channel as well. We're going to take a quick break here on this abbreviated version of the Inland Sports Show. Again, if you're just joining us, had some car issues down in the Murrieta area. A car wizard, he was a real wizard with the car, man. The car wizard helped me out and couldn't get to the TV studio in time for our normal 6:05 kickoff, but made it back home. And again, had to talk about the top 25, our preseason rankings brought to you by Boost Performance Training. When we come back here on the Inland Sports Show after a very short commercial break, we've got our Ken Sporting Goods must-see game. And because of cancellations, we've actually had to change this a couple times. We do have a number of cancellations in our Inland Sports coverage area for high school football games coming up on this Friday. So we'll tell you about that and some of those other big games that we're keeping an eye on as we bring in the high school football season this fall. I'm Pep Fernandez. We'll be right back with more Inland Sports Show. Calling all athletes. Make sure you're at your very best by training at Boost Performance Training in Corona. Whether you're a football player, soccer player, baseball player, lacrosse, athletes from all sports and all levels train at Boost Performance Training. Led by former Centennial High School football star Ray Bass, you'll develop explosive power, become faster, and add that lean muscle. Don't be left behind and get a leg up on the competition at Boost Performance Training. Visit boosttrainingsystems.com for information on their training programs and also on the Bass School. That's the Bass Alternative School for student athletes. Trying to earn a scholarship? Maybe make the varsity team. Get a spot in the starting lineup? Well, let Boost Performance Training help achieve your athletic goals. The number one sporting goods store in the Inland Empire is Ken's Sporting Goods in Norco. Whether you need new uniforms for the entire team, a Letterman's jacket, or new cleats for the upcoming season, check out Ken's Sporting Goods. Plus, now you can order masks with your favorite team, school, business, and more. Order for your entire team or organization. Visit kensportinggoods.com for more information and for the latest on the big sales. Make sure to follow Ken Sporting Goods on Instagram and Twitter. So if you need team uniforms or sports gear, there's only one place to go in the Inland Empire. That's Ken Sporting Goods. And speaking of college football, Patrick, you brought it up. The coaches' preseason poll is out. Not a big shock here. Alabama's 1. Clemson is 2. But we got USC checking at number 14. And I want to bring them up because we've got tons of Inland Empire guys. And I wish 40 was here because 3 of those guys for USC are going to be huge playmakers this year for the Trojans. We got Corey Foreman and Drake Jackson on the defensive line. And then on the offense, we've got receiver Gary Bryant. So Centennial has 3 guys. And they also have a linebacker that should play too. I mean, Centennial's like feeding USC to be good on the national stage.
Yeah, and I mean, they are the namesake of the Pac-12. People do need to realize that, USC. And I mean, there is some hype around USC being good because this number 14 does mean something. It's in the coaches poll. So these aren't writers who are speculating or writers from LA. These are coaches in college football, and I think they think USC is going to be a good team. I think that's a very good sign.
And we are back on the Inland Sports Show live from my living room. Had car issues, could not get to Teen Vision TV 16 in time, but we still wanted to go live. We promised a show every single Wednesday night, and we had to unveil our preseason top 25 for high school football. So if you missed it, go ahead, hit rewind, and we're also going to post it on the Inland Sports website so you can check it out there as well. Without further ado, let's get to our Ken Sporting Goods must-see game. And I'll tell you what, we had some tough ones or a tough decision because we had some great games lined up in week 0. Unfortunately, some of them have been canceled. We'll talk about that in just a second, but first things first. Our Ken Sporting Goods must-see game. Oh, it's a big one. The granddaddy of them all this week. It's Norco on the road at Vista Murrieta. And again, I'm a sucker anytime the Big 8 League plays the Southwestern League. Well, I love when those two leagues get together, so I'm a sucker for it. This could be a league game in the future when the Big 8 League and the Southwestern League combine to form this super conference. But for now, it's a Week 0 non-league showdown. Norco taking on Vista Murrieta, your Big 8 League champion from the spring, your Southwestern League champion from the spring, going head-to-head in our Ken's Sporting Goods must-see game here in Week 0. Now, speaking of, let's take a look at a couple other games that we're excited about in Week 0. These are other good matchups. Let's take a peek. Elsinore taking on Vista Del Lago. That could be a very competitive game. Elsinore, coached by Tony Peralta, strong year in and year out. And Vista Del Lago, again, there's a couple teams who made some serious noise in the spring. I think we need to pay attention to them. The Ravens, under Coach Tui, the last couple of seasons, man, they are really turning a corner. This is a good team. That's going to be a great game. Orange Vista against Beaumont. What's not to love? Zobel versus Steinberg. Two programs on the rise. That's going to be a great non-league game. Of course, Norco versus Vista Murrieta. That is the must-see game this week, brought to you by Ken Sporting Goods. That Rancho Cucamonga versus Roosevelt game, we had this on the list, but we just found out earlier this afternoon that game has been canceled, postponed with some COVID protocols taking place inside the Rancho Cucamonga program. So that game will not happen. And that's not the only one, too. Kaiser versus Rancho Verde, that game has been canceled. Notre Dame against Xavier Prep. I feel like I'm missing one. There was a couple games that were going to be canceled. Oh, of course, Mater Dei and Centennial. That one was canceled, although those two schools will scrimmage each other on Friday night. So, again, obviously, it's not the news that you want to share and put out there publicly, but if you know of a cancellation, if you're a coach, if you're tied to one of these high schools or programs, if you could tweet us or even send us a direct message, just in terms of our planning, because we do go out and cover quite a bit of high school football games on a Thursday or Friday or Saturday night, and some of our guys, they drive pretty far distances, so, again, it's not the news you want to share, you don't want to put it out there, but we would appreciate it, and thanks to the schools that have alerted us about some of these early cancellations. They won't be the first or the last, unfortunately, this season. Okay, continue with the list. Santiago against Heritage. Andre Smith making his debut as the head coach of the Pats. Love this matchup, Santiago and Heritage. They've played each other a couple times last couple of years. Valley View and Temecula Valley. Pete Smolin making his debut with the Eagles. Aquinas taking on Etiwanda. That's one of the top games in San Bernardino County. The Falcons, again, loaded, man. They got some great guys, and they're always good under head coach Jordan Brusig. And then, of course, JW North and Grand Terrace. Justin Randall, the former head coach at Carter, now the head coach at Grand Terrace. And just based on proximity, this game's a rivalry, man. They're like maybe 1.5 miles, 2 miles apart. They're really not that far. This is a good rivalry game between two really good programs. So those are some of our Ken Sporting Goods must-see games this week. But again, our must-see game, the granddaddy of them all, Norco and Vista Murrieta. Again, I'm a big sucker for Big 8 versus Southwestern League, and we got the two spring champs going head-to-head. So what's not to love about that battle? All right, before we wrap up this very short, abbreviated version of the Inland Sports Show, I had to hustle home from Murrieta, get this thing going so we could talk about Week 0 of the high school football season and unveil our top 25 preseason rankings brought to you by Boost Performance Training. But there's one other thing before we wrap this up, this very short show, is we're trying to secure the IEMG TV studio once again to bring you Sports Weekly Live, the only high school football show on Friday nights in the Inland Empire. It is coming back, but it looks like there's red tape and paper, being approved and whatnot. It looks like it's not going to happen this Friday, so I do not think we're going to have a show for week 0, unfortunately. But it looks like, and we're trying to expedite the process to make it happen, because I know tons of you have asked me, when is Sports Weekly Live coming back? We miss all the highlights and scores. So do I. We're trying to get it for you. So probably not this Friday, but next Friday, week 1, we're hoping to be back in the IEMG TV studio to bring you Sports Weekly Live, all your high school football scores and highlights across the IE. So that is the plan. And again, it's the only high school football show in the Inland Empire, and we do it live each and every Friday night, beginning at 11 o'clock. Probably, to be honest, probably closer to 11:05, just kind of like the Inland Sports Show. We always say it's a 6 o'clock show, but in honesty, it's more like 6:05. I don't know why. Those 5 minutes mean the world in terms of getting us on the air and having everything ready. So again, next Friday night, we're hoping expedite the process, get all the paperwork done, and we're trying to patiently wait to get back in that studio to bring you Sports Weekly Live with all your high school football scores and highlights. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Thanks for tuning in. Again, wasn't planning this, but we're live from my living room. We'll be back in the Teen Vision TV 16 studio come next week. A shout out to our director, Johnny Nunez, who is so understanding. He was already in the studio. He had everything ready. And I call him like, Johnny, it's 5:30. I'm stuck down in the Murr. I'm down in Murrieta. I got car issues. So Johnny's the best. He was very understanding. So thank you, Johnny. I appreciate it. So we'll be back in the studio come next week with our guests. And hopefully we'll get the same guests that we had scheduled for tonight. Again, that was Jordan Brusig from Aquinas, Billy Cardosi from Kaiser, and Eric Galliano from San Jacinto. We were going to really blow it out with high school football. And we kind of did here. We had our rankings and some of our top games, but we'll really do it again come next week, week 1, which again, week 1 is going to be a little meatier, a little juicier, as pretty much all the teams will be playing in week 1. Week 0, I'd say about 2/3 of the teams are playing. Week 1, we'll really sink our teeth into it with all those high school football games. And we'll get to talk about what happened in week 0 as we look ahead to week 1. So we'll find out a lot about these teams. And again, some great matchups coming up in week 0. And I can't wait to see what the rankings look like next week. We had our preseason rankings, but based on what happens on Thursday and Friday and Saturday night, because San Jacinto versus Rev is a Saturday night game, based on those games, I'm sure we're going to have some movement in those Boost Performance Training Top 25 football rankings. My name is Pep Fernandez. We appreciate you tuning in each and every Wednesday for your favorite show. If you're an Inland Empire business, you'd like to have your business showcased on this show, we'd love to hear from you. Send us an email, inlandsportsshow@gmail.com, or on any of our social media platforms. You can hit us up there. And interns, listen, we've had several of you reach out to us. We appreciate it. CJ, Jacob, McKenna, Elijah, you know who you guys are. We're going to have a great football season because we were surrounding ourselves with some great people to bring you the very best coverage this year. That's going to do it for the Inland Sports Show. And again, make sure you hit subscribe to the Inland Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on our social media platforms, and we'll be back in the Teen Vision TV 16 studio come next week. I'm Pep Fernandez. We'll see you next time on your favorite show, the Inland Sports Show.